Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Round 6 for Pure Speed Elite Series here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Last week, we saw Brad Herman dominate the end of the race at Phoenix Raceway. He brought home his second win of the season. But at Atlanta, multi-groove racing is going to be apparent tonight. Who will join our previous winners in victory lane? You guys will have to stay tuned to find out, as I'm here with Jordan McGraw in the booth. Jordan, what's up with ya?
Oh, not much. Just try not to blow away as the winds have gotten up around where I am, but excited to watch some racing here at Atlanta. It's a slick 1.5 mile oval, and gonna be tough for these guys tonight.
I hear ya. I want to go ahead and take a look at points as these guys are getting ready to go to qualifying. You can see the points here, and first we have Andrew Wisdom. He's already got a win. He's got 175 points. Edward Schur, he's got 171, so he is not too far behind. But there's a huge jump from second to third, where John Honeycutt sits with a win and 144 points. You can see the rest of the guys pretty close as we head to the top 8. And then on the back half, they're really well spread out, but there is a long season, so many races to catch back up and see what you can do. So it'll be fun to see what they do and how they go throughout the season. All right, these guys are getting ready to go to qualifying. And Jordan, can you talk about what we've seen over practice?
Practice was definitely interesting. His drivers really struggling to find the balance of their race cars. Incredibly loose on entry, really loose on exit, loose through the center, just loose. These drivers are going to have a tough time the first few laps of these runs, while letting it. Going to need to get the temperatures up, the pressure up in those tires, get some grip in them. But these first few laps at the start, any restarts, they're going to be treacherous. They're going to be tough on these guys, and it's going to be a wild thing to see.
Well, you were talking about that, and as you were talking about how loose it is, we watched Chris Gutierrez in that 0-2. He wrecked it in qualifying. Really unfortunate, so hopefully he can gain the momentum back up and get a good qualifying lap. But I'll tell you what, guys, it's hot Atlanta. It's going to be slick, and these guys will be sliding around. We saw a lot of cautions at Phoenix, but then the second half of the race was very clean. So I'm thinking it might be the same kind of situation here. A few cautions when we start out, but hopefully once we get the green flag underway, we'll be good to go.
That really has been the story of this league so far. Is a little bit physical at the start, a few wrecks, a rash of yellows, but then at the races have tended to end with a long green flag run. Allow these drivers to get spread out, get into a rhythm, make some green flag stops, and like you said, wouldn't be surprised if we saw that today, but this is going to be a challenging night for these drivers.
Absolutely. We already have a couple of drivers out here putting in some time. We have Matthew O'Brien with a 30.22. We have Brendan Book with a 30.23 directly behind him. Justin Mons in that 41. He's going to be P3 on the board so far with a 30.32. Waller, a new guy coming in to race here in the 43 car. He's got a 30.31. He's going to replace P3. So these guys are running super close times out here. A lot of competition, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of bumping and banging going on here tonight.
Oh, I hope no bumping and banging. They're going to be wrecking if they're bumping and banging. A little bit too fast of a track for them to be doing that. But hey, a little casual contact always happens in racing, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of that tonight. But they better not be looking for it.
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to you guys in chat. We have Savage, we have Yensa, we have BK Doug out here for Honeycutt. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the race. It is going to be a crazy one. I'm looking forward to it, but we'll see what these guys can do. There's only a couple of guys left here out on track. I'm wondering if a few of them are going to hang out and try to, try to start out in the back and see how it goes and work their way up front, but it's going to be a long line for these guys if that's the case.
Yeah, we've seen that every race. As there have been a handful of drivers who have opted to not make a lap, start in the back, and I believe once again we're going to see that one more time tonight. Some drivers going to opt to start toward the rear of the field, let the race shake out, let the craziness happen, and then go attack the lead later on.
Absolutely. I want to go ahead and get our pole sitter up here. It's still a little bit early, but Matthew O'Brien, it is Eliza in the booth. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, doing pretty good right now.
I'm putting you on the spot. You're out there with a really fast time, 30.22. How's the car feeling tonight, and what's the strategy going in?
It's a little loose on exit, but feels pretty good. I'm safe. Try to stay in the lead and save tires in the lead, and hopefully hold on to it because dirty air is pretty bad here. So being the leader is pretty much key, right? So hopefully the lap stands. I'm gonna guess I have probably like 3 people that I think I have to be concerned about that haven't gone yet. So
Well, we'll see what happens, but I wish you a ton of luck tonight, and hopefully we can keep you on that pole.
yeah, I hope so.
All right, take it easy.
All right. Yep. Thanks.
You guys heard it there from Matthew O'Brien, and that number 17, he is our pole sitter so far. There still is a little bit of time left, but let's talk about, I'm trying to get some drivers out here, but there's no one really out right now. We got a couple of more takers. We're on board with Chris Fathke and that number 27. We'll see what he can get out there. He's done 1 lap and he's at a 30.96, so he's going to hope to improve that. But J-Mac, it's 115 laps tonight. It's going to be crazy. Man, I know long run is a huge thing with the tires out here. You're going to see multiple lines being ran. There's going to be some guys that can handle it down low, but I'll tell you, it is so loose down there. Otherwise, I think we're going to see a midline to the high side being ran tonight.
Yeah, I think drivers are going to use every ounce of track that they can. As we heard from Matthew O'Brien, dirty air is not your friend here. So drivers are going to be looking for lines. Honestly, maybe not even where the grip is, just where the car in front of them isn't, is where these drivers are going to try to make laps, try to find lap time and be able to work their way through traffic. But so far, it's not looking quite as hairy as we were seeing in practice. These drivers being able to keep these cars underneath them as Jaden Gimbel goes 12th out there in his 20 car. So 17 drivers have put a lap down. Only 4 on the entry list have not so far.
We'll see what happens. With Jaden Gimbel, he was having a really fast time out there in practice, so I'm a little surprised that he qualified a little bit lower, but don't count him out. I think we're going to see him move up through the field pretty quickly, and you can see Doc Holliday getting a little loose coming off the corner here. We're going to see that a lot, guys, and I want to give another shout out to you guys out in chat. We have Sick Parrot, we have Atlanta Racing, we have Tango Wolf. What's up, guys? We have Help Desk. I appreciate you guys being out here. It's going to be a ton of fun, but man, I'm guessing, but I think we are going to see a few cautions starting off here. It's slippery. It's hot Atlanta.
And on top of that, everyone's going to be on top of each other, and they're not really gonna know what they've got. They've run practice laps, and they've gotten a couple of hot laps in, but they haven't run a lap with 20 plus race cars out there with them. So conditions are going to be completely different. Balance is going to be completely different. The arrow is going to be completely different. It's going to be a lot of mysteries going into those first few laps, and we're going to see how these guys are able to handle it tonight.
Absolutely. These guys are getting ready to grid back up, and we'll introduce them. Let's see if we're going to be ready for that yet. You know, I wish they would tell us like how long they have left in qualifying. I don't see that it tells us.
You can see it at the top left.
Really?
There's a remaining time, yes, or a time elapsed. It's either one of those.
Oh,
and
well,
then
Champ.
so how much time do we have left? Because it does not tell me.
oh,
Question will be answered this Sunday night.
If I told you I was out there test driving right now, would you hold it against me?
Listen to you. Oh, with the biddies, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's awesome. These guys, we have 17 guys out there already qualified. Top time of 30.22. Matthew O'Brien going to be sitting on pole so far. In 17th, we have Doc Holliday with a 31.09. You see Jason Keffer directly up ahead of him in that 22 with a 30.66. It's going to be close, guys. These guys are going to have to be very patient with each other and just try to maneuver around it.
Yeah, the car definitely still really slick. A little bit more grip than there was, but you have to tiptoe it right now. For these drivers, it's real tough conditions. Probably not a bad thing. It looks like Doc Holliday had a lap where the car got out from under him there. He's 4/10 off of the next car, so imagine he got a little bit loose. Some other drivers that we would expect to be toward the front: Andrew Wisdom, Jason Keffer, some drivers that we see toward the front pretty often. They have some slower time, so that has the look of cars that just got out from under them, likely off of 4, hurting both of their laps. But we should be gridding up here pretty quick.
Yeah, we are gridded up, and so let's go ahead and take a look at where everyone is starting. On pole, we do have Matt O'Brien in that number 17. He's going to be starting us out. On the outside, we have Brendan Book in that number 7. In row 2, we have Austin Reedy in the 11 car with Edward Schur in the number 5. He's going to be starting off 4th. In row 3, we have Ace Waller in that 43 with James Hudson on the outside. In row 4, it looks like Justin Mons in the 41 with Cole Snyder on the outside. It looks like row 5, we have John Honeycutt, number 50 car with Richard Rico on the outside.
Inside of row 11 will be Brad Herman. He will line up alongside Jaden Gimbel when he gets loaded in. The 6 of Andrew Wisdom will be inside of Christopher Fathke in row 7. Row 8 is Chris Gutierrez and Jason Keffer. Row 9 is Doc Holliday and Tyler Werner. And row 10, Enrique Quinones and NNR Chevy.
You know, I'm going to tell you what, your list is showing very different from mine. I have Andrew Wisdom in the number 6 with Chris Fathke on the outside, Chris Gutierrez in the 02 car
That's what I
with
said.
Jason Keffer on the outside. Okay, it's weird.
That's what I said.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
It's showing backwards on my screen. This is very weird. All right, Doc Holliday in the 88, and we have Tyler Werner on the outside with Enrique in the 45 car with NNR Chevy on the outside. And last but not least is going to be Jacob Locklear. It has the starting order on the outside for some reason. Maybe that's what confused me. It was very odd order. It's messed up. All right, these guys are getting ready to go here. Let's bring up the ticker. You can see these guys lining up. Matthew O'Brien will be leading us off. Let's take a look at him as we start off here in that number 17. We have Brendan Book on the outside in that number 7. 115 laps out here. It's going to get crazy, guys. Another newer driver is Brendan Book on the outside in that 7, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do here. But we have some heavy hitters up front once again with Edward Schur and Austin Reedy. We have 4 different winners this season so far. And we are off to green at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we have a great start for that outside with Brendan Book. We have Matthew O'Brien just doing a fantastic job on the inside. It's going to be super close to see what these guys can do. J-Mac, what are you seeing out there?
Oh, a very, very clean start riding along with the guys up front right now. Side by side, Brendan Book keeping it even with Matthew O'Brien, and this is going to be that tough corner with everybody up to speed almost. How loose will these cars try to get off of turn 4? It's very steady for our front 2 as they head to the start-finish line. Brendan Book will lead lap 1.
Brendan Book will lead lap 1 on the outside all by himself, while we have Matthew O'Brien with help behind him. But that outside line, I think, is going to take over tonight. Dirty air as we have someone going almost into the wall, but man, oh man, saved it just coming off that turn. Almost cracked the wall, but fantastic save on his end.
Absolutely fantastic save. As we see, I believe that was Justin Mons heading to pit road here, so maybe a little bit of damage for that 41 car. It might have been maybe a little bit of net code there. He was blinking in and out, so maybe he was sent to pit road for that. But either way, the 7 of Brendan Book was able to persevere on that outside, pull ahead of the 17 of Matthew O'Brien, so move him to the lead. 17 into second, Edward Scherter holding strong in third, Austin Reedy in fourth.
Yeah, Austin Reedy in fourth, and we've seen him so strong, but these guys are really tight together for the first 4 or 5 cars. They're doing a great job out there, getting a feel for the cars. You saw some of these guys getting pretty loose in practice, but man, I'll tell you what, J-Mac, it looks like they're doing a great job as we have another battle for the lead. Let's take a look at this. Very, very close fight here. Brendan Book already making his presence known as he goes underneath of Matthew O'Brien in that 17. These guys going side by side for the lead. What a battle out here.
And Matthew O'Brien able to make that pass around the outside of Brendan Book, and as you noted, that outside line going to be preferred here tonight. It would appear as the 7 car falls in line behind the 17. Our pole sitter goes back into the lead. Our outside pole sitter goes back into that second spot. Meanwhile, Edward Scherter and Austin Reedy in third and fourth, with James Hudson well behind them in that 5th spot, a 4-car breakaway here at the early portion of this race.
Absolutely, and these front 2 are battling for the lead, and we also have 3rd and 4th battling it out for 3rd. And like you said, we have a huge gap, but yet another battle for the lead as Brendan Book goes underneath Matthew O'Brien in that 17, and in the background I see a car getting loose back there. Another great save out in this field, but man oh man, I'm seeing Justin Mons though down 2 laps. Not quite sure what happened to him, but really unfortunate to see.
Yeah, he had to make a pit stop earlier. Not sure he's out there now by himself. Must have had a little bit of damage, maybe. Again, might have been asked to go to pit road. I don't know. But either way, he pitted from about the 5th spot. Had to come down, and now, as you said, 2 laps down. So an unfortunate start to this race, but a long way to go. A lot of opportunities to gain a couple of laps back, but we have a change for the lead as the 7 of Brendan Book moves around the 17 of Matthew O'Brien.
Yeah, Austin Reedy giving Brendan Book quite a push as we headed in there, and he's just going away with that, with Austin Reedy following underneath. Quite the battle out here with Matthew O'Brien stuck on the outside. Brendan Book's going to take the outside, and we're going to have Austin Reedy just slide in directly in front of him. Very close call there.
A very close call. The 17 starting to move back just a little. Either maybe ran just a little too hard at the beginning of this run, or has decided to take it easier than these other drivers around him are. Maybe trying to settle into a pace, save those tires for the back half of this run before green flag stops should we get to them. But the 11 of Austin Reedy, he's taking it to our leader. Brendan Book looks to the inside, not able to make that pass. He's going to fall back in line. We'll see if he follows the 7 car. He'll follow in the 7 car's tracks, going through turns 3 and 4, both entering low but then sliding up pretty early in the corner. High exit. Our front 2 starting to break away from our 3rd and 4th place drivers.
They sure are, and Austin Reedy, he is riding behind Brendan Book right now, but I don't think that's going to last very long. He's already taken a peek underneath and slides back up. He is definitely working on that 7 car. He's letting them know, I'm here, and I want the lead.
He wants the lead, but the 7 of Brendan Book not willing to give it up just yet. Running a little bit different lines through each end of the track. The 7 right around the white line at the entry of turn 3. Meanwhile, with the 11 poking underneath him, he's had to run about a lane up in 1 and 2. This time he opts for that white line. That's going to allow Austin Reedy to peek to his outside, but he's not going to be able to make the pass, and he gets the wall.
He hits the wall, and that's going to slow him down. Brendan Book going to get away, and we have another wreck in the back. Just one car so far. I'm not sure if that's going to bring out any caution. Chris Gutierrez, let's see if we can get a replay of that. Just coming off the turn in that 0-2 car, he cracks the wall, and that is going to be a wreck. Hits the inside wall. Definitely got to repair that.
Yeah, definitely just looked like he got tight. Looks like what happened to the 11 car. The 11 got into the dirty air of the 7 and just washed up into the wall, but the 0-2, he had to have had that thing cranked all the way to the left with the way that yanked to the left off of the wall. So just an unfortunate event for Chris Gutierrez early in this race as our drivers are working lap 12 actually. Coming to line for 13.
Lap 13, and James Hudson in that 53 is just trying to work on Matthew O'Brien, who was our pole sitter and led a couple of laps, but he has since fallen back. These guys are in quite the single file line, but let's take a look back here. Man, very, very close between these guys. I'm trying to get a look at this. Andrew Wisdom in that 6 car, just battling it out with the 50 of Honeycutt and the 85 of Brad Herman. These guys are going for it all as Honeycutt gonna take it up high and see if he can make a pass. He's gonna have to try it again. Oh! Honeycutt, I do believe, cracked the wall a little bit, and we also have, I do believe that's James Hudson. Yeah.
85 got super loose. That's Brad Herman got incredibly loose off of turn 2. Lost both of those spots. The 6 getting some free real estate around him as the 2 drivers he was racing there for that 6th spot made a couple of mistakes. That's going to allow him free reign to go after the 53, and we had seen the 53 fall off of that lead pack. Well, now they've fallen back to him, sans the 7 of Brendan Book. There's a 4-way battle for that 2nd spot up here.
Absolutely incredible. Let's take a look back up here. You see Brennan Book with almost a 2nd lead off a 2nd place of Austin Reedy. Austin Reedy is in close call with the 5 car, the 17 of Matthew O'Brien and James Hudson in that 53. These guys are going to have to work together to catch back up to him. It's going to be super close, but they can most definitely do it. Brendan Book is on the run though.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of effect that damage that the 11 car might have gotten from hitting the wall has on him later on in this run. Right now he's been able to hold strong, run a defensive line, hold off the 5 of Edward Scherer, but how long he will be able to do that, we're going to have to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be for very long. The 5 seems like he's just a little bit faster. Using the draft, he's going to take it to the inside of the 11, going to try to clear him. Packed it in there into the bottom through 1 and 2, was not able to clear him. Was able to keep it down on that white line, though. Got in hard enough. I was kind of afraid he was going to slide up, but he was able to hold that line, maintain the grip, and he should be able to attack back here in 3 and 4. He's going to be clear of the 11, so move the 5 of Edward Scherer up to 3rd. The 11, or the 11 of Austin Reedy back to 3rd. Edward Scherer up to 2nd as Matthew O'Brien looks forward to making a pass here as he's going to work on the 11 of Reedy.
As these guys are battling it out, they are now a little over a 2nd behind of Brendan Book in that 7, and these 4 are just going at it. The 5 car has passed for 2nd, and now the 17 of Matthew O'Brien is trying to pass over for James Hudson. So it is going to be super close with these guys, kind of playing leapfrog out here. A lot of action. You see Austin Reedy in that 11 car. He is falling back a little bit. 53 of James Hudson. These guys are lined up, and they're not leaving anything on the table. They're going for it all.
Yeah, the 11 got real loose last lap out of turn 2. He's having to work that car really, really hard to maintain the pace. I think he's starting to settle in, or he's starting to feel the effects of that damage and how hard he's had to drive that car to try to maintain a spot up in there in that top 4 with that group as they're starting to pull away. The 53 of James Hudson working on the 17 of Matthew O'Brien as Edward Scherer is putting a little bit of distance between himself and those drivers behind him. All 3 of them running about a car width above the other through 1 and 2 as they're trying to avoid that dirty air.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I do want to give a shout out to Max out in chat. Thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for the follows and for being out here. Really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the race. It is crazy. You know what's interesting is Edward Schur, he's out in second place. However, we haven't seen him get a win yet this season. He has been so strong in all of these races. I'm just waiting for him to get that win. I know it's coming sooner than later, you know, probably sooner than later. So we'll see what happens with him. But a very, very strong driver out there. Really fun to watch these guys. Let's take a look at Austin Reedy on the 11 car. Still sitting P5 directly behind James Hudson in that 53. Just so close. Running single file, these guys are just on it. I want to take a look at some action out here. Let's take a look. Jason Keffer in the 22 car. He is currently in the top 10, sitting P9. Let's see who's around him, though. Kind of by himself. He is off a little bit there, J-Mac.
Behind him, two teammates going for it for that 10th spot, the final spot inside the top 10. Honeycutt has it. Jacob Locklear wants it. The 84 using a little higher line to try to make up some ground there. On the 50, he's going to try to slingshot around the 50. I think the 84 had the opportunity to go to his inside. Wasn't sure if the 50 might be a little defensive there. Opted not to make that move. Now Locklear going to go up to the high line around Honeycutt. So move Locklear into the top 10 after starting back in 21st. So a strong start to this race for that 84 car.
Yeah, huge improvement for him. Plus 11 spots so far. Doing a great job out there. These teammates for Team FTR. They're going to try to work together and try to make their way back up there. But man, oh man, pretty impressive drive so far. Let's take a look at Austin Reedy and see what's going on up here. These guys are starting to spread out, J-Mac. Everything, you know, you see a single file line and quite a bit of spacing between them. You see it minus 1.30, 1.70. These guys are really starting to spread out. And Brendan Book, he's getting away.
Yeah, he continues to stretch out just a little bit up to 1.3 seconds. Lost about a couple of hundredths there, but nothing too major just yet. Edward Schur trying to make up ground there. As you said, they're currently all about 3/10 apart from each other. The second and third place cars 3/10 apart, then about a 6/10 gap back to that fourth place car. So these drivers starting to get spread out, starting to get into a bit of a rhythm, and now having to deal with that dirty air as well as the abrasive tire wear that you get here at Atlanta on a slick track. It's tough enough just racing single file as they are. And I think they'd rather have it that way at this point with the tire wear getting to where it is. But the 53 running a much higher line than the drivers behind him, trying to find grip, find clean air, and make his way into the top 3.
Absolutely. I have a feeling that we might see pit stops coming up soon. We're on lap 26 of 115. Meanwhile, let's take a look at Jaden Gimbel. He's got quite a few guys pretty close to him as we see one go off the track, and he's going to go to the inside wall. Let's see if we can find out who that was.
That is the 23 of Cole Snyder down there. Not sure what happened, caught the back end of it, but yeah, it just looked like has the look of a car that got loose off of the corner. Looks like it was a pretty late spin, so not sure what happened there. Must have gotten in the wall and was trying to crank on it and eventually lost it. But unfortunate start for the 23 of Cole Snyder. Had a top 10 starting spot, but now back in 19th with a wrecked race car.
Absolutely. We have Richard Rico out here in P8, top 10 so far, looking pretty good. A lot of these guys are just so spread out. There's not a lot you can do right now except run your line, try to make it.
Oh!
What?
Our leader just got incredibly loose. He was trying to run the wall through 1 and 2. Our leader, Brendan Book, got incredibly loose, almost lost it, was able to save it, but that's going to be a lot of grip lost in that right rear tire, as well as a lot of time lost on the racetrack. He's been losing steadily, and he just lost a half a second with that slide.
Yeah, half a second is quite a bit out here. He had a huge lead, which no longer is the case. Edward Schur directly behind him. This is his opportunity to take up everything that he lost and try to get that lead. He's got Matthew O'Brien almost 2 seconds behind him, so there's nobody around him. Brendan Book, he's really got to nail this now. He fell back a little bit from getting loose, so he's really got to keep the consistency and try to keep the car underneath him.
Yeah, I think the 5 catching him prompted that 7 car to try to search around for grip, to search around for some speed and lap time, and I think he learned his lesson there to stay on the bottom as 1 and 2 because those last 2 laps he has ridden the white line after almost sliding it off of turn 2, trying to run the high line. The 5 of Edward Scherer running that middle line around the track right in between those 2 seams, trying to find clean air and speed through the corners. He's gonna, let's see how it stacks out here. He gained another 300, so he is steadily gaining time on that 7 car. Now the 7 starting to race, drive a little bit defensively, trying to take the air off of that 5 car, but he is not as good up in that higher lane, up in that middle or high line. So we'll have to see how that works out for him, if that pays off, slowing that 5 car down, or if he kicks off too much speed of his own.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with these two. It's going to be so close, but let's take a look at the battle for third at the moment. We have the 17 of Matthew O'Brien, our pole sitter for the race. He's got James Hudson right on his tail right now. So we'll see if he's going to make a move, or will he just hang out and just try to log some laps and make it to pit road for pit stops. And you see a couple of these guys getting a little loose. That was Edward Scherer coming off the corner. Got a little loose. He was able to hold on to it, but you can tell tires are a huge issue right now, especially in dirty air, as James Hudson is going underneath Matthew O'Brien in that 17, trying to get some clean air, trying to make the pass and gain another position.
Yeah, everything Scherer had gotten there. He gave up as we see the 53 going around the 17 back there. So move the 53 up into third and Matthew O'Brien back to fourth. But the 5 with that little miscue, just trying to get a little too much. He saw the lead in front of him driving just a little too hard, a little too much throttle, a little too much wheel off of turn 2. It's going to cost him about a half a second here. Now he's got to get back in rhythm the same way that the 7 had to, is he's going to try to run him back down. But the man on the move, currently that 53 of James Hudson, our newest member of the top 3.
Newest member of the top 3, most definitely. Matthew O'Brien directly behind him. He is going to try to hold on to it. You can see the different lines that they're taking. We have James Hudson, who is taking advantage of that high line. It's going to be a little tougher on tires, but Matthew O'Brien trying to run the mid part of the track, and so far it's working out for him. But I'll tell you what, he fell back a little bit from pole. He's still hanging on, and he's going to try to work on Matthew O'Brien and take that third back.
You know, O'Brien just trying to run everywhere the 53 isn't to try to get a little bit of grip, but Hudson has been working his way forward ever so slightly as Edward Scherer is starting to fall off of Brendan Book a little bit. That gap has increased back to 1.4 seconds, so that slide a little bit more costly than it would have seemed earlier on. But right now the best battle inside of the top 10 is between third and fourth, between James Hudson and Matthew O'Brien.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love that you guys can run so many different lines now, and you can see how they're taking advantage of it. But as we mentioned with Brendan, he got loose, and now he is just off and running once again. It hasn't seemed to affect him too much. He's got the car under control. Edward Scherer is trying to do all that he can to keep up with him, but he's still losing time out there. He's at, a second and a half behind him, and it's still going. James Hudson, we have two and almost a half seconds behind our leader, so it's coming down to it here.
Yeah, our third and fourth place drivers are catching up to the 5 of Edward Scherer. Might have burned his stuff up just a little bit trying to catch him. They're trying to catch our leader, Brendan Book, now falling back just a little bit from our leader, losing some time to those drivers behind him. So the 53 of James Hudson, before we get to this pit cycle, has an opportunity to work his way up into turn 2. We saw, I believe that was the 23 of Cole Snyder hitting the commitment cone as we see drivers beginning to hit pit road, and there's a yellow flag out.
Caution has come out. Wow. All right, so these guys, I can guarantee you all of these guys will be going in is going to be insane with this yellow coming out and another green flag. So we'll see what they do, and we have a couple of suggestions for Enrique. Thank you guys for tuning in out there. I appreciate it. Enrique is currently sitting P12 at the moment. Caution is out. They will line up and make their way down pit road. Lap 39 of 115. It's going to get crazy, Jordan.
It is, and the 20 of Jaden Gimbel hit pit road, so that might have been the car involved in the accident. As looks like, yep, let's see what happened here. It was the 20 and the 37 got together. Let's see what happened. The 20 going underneath the 37 of NNR Chevy, and 37 just kind of turned down into him. So,
wow,
unfortunate event. It was heading into the corner, but I think the 37 just kind of misjudged it there, and just wrong place, wrong time for the 20 of Jaden Gimbel. Not really anything he could have done there. Definitely not his fault, but just another accident. We've seen this out of Gimbel a few times this season. He has an early incident, has to take it easy, and then late in the race, he makes a charge back into the top 10 for a respectable finish. But once again, in a eventful start to the race.
Absolutely. You see a lot of guys staying out, which I'm very surprised here. So you see our leader, Brendan Book, coming in. We have the 17 of Matthew O'Brien. It seems the top running guys out here are going on to pit road, but they're going to be behind guys with older tires, which makes things very interesting. As NNR Chevy, he chose to stay out.
That's a very interesting decision, unless he's planning on coming in this second time around. I don't see any reason to stay out there on old tires. They're not going to have any fuel left. There's not going to be any tires. I believe drivers were about to begin coming to pit road anyway. So just don't think that's the call, unless it's just an attempted strategy to put themselves in a position to be out of the carnage for the restart.
Yeah, you see Jason Keffer in the top 10. We'll see him and how he makes a run. He's got Austin Reedy 2 cars behind him in P12. We saw him up front. Not a great pit stop for him. I'm wondering if he sped or if he missed his pit stall. And in our Chevy falling back. I do believe NNR Chevy is on pit road, so Brendan Book will be leading us back to green. I was kind of wondering, Jordan, because I can't imagine that he would want to stay out. Just too old of tires.
Yeah, too old of tires, and to go back to Reedy here, who is that slow pit stop, I believe, probably just stayed in there to repair the damage from getting into the wall. That seemed like that was really affecting him, especially toward the end of the run. He's having to work that car really hard, fix it, beat out some fenders. Probably wasn't enough damage to use up his fast repair, especially with him starting in the middle of the field. But either way, he's going to have a much cleaner, much more aero good race car, as I just made up a terrible term. Aero good.
That's something I would say.
Good.
All right, I want to take a look here and see if we can find out who has who's taken a pit stop. I don't think we can show that. We'll see here.
I believe everybody has taken a pit stop.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has stayed out currently. We have Brendan Book in the lead. We're going to have Edward Schur in that 5 car, starting on the outside with James Hudson in the 53. He's going to be P3 with Matthew O'Brien, tonight's pole sitter. He will be on the outside, sitting P4.
And this is going to give a lot of these drivers that were kind of in that second group to an opportunity to put some pressure on this front 4 that had pulled away. And in addition to the 11 of Austin Reedy, who is now back to 10th, we haven't really seen the 85 get the opportunity to drive up around these other drivers, as well as the 18 of Richard Rico and the 84 of Jacob Locklear, who again started dead last in this field and all the way up to 7th right now. A strong start. He's alongside Andrew Wisdom, a driver that we have seen lead a lot of laps and win races this season. Hasn't had the strongest of days so far, not a great qualifying effort, but he finds himself in striking distance in P8.
Absolutely. Guys in chat, let me know, who do you think is going to be the winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway? Brendan Book looking very, very strong tonight, and this is his first race at PSES for Season 2. Very cool to see him out here. I've known him from the Xbox days. We both have. So it's cool to see him out here, and he's definitely making his presence known. Edward Scher on the outside, though, he's not going to let him get away, along with a few other guys that are very, very strong so far this season. We have the pace car off, and we're getting ready to go back to green as we are on board with Brendan Book. He's going to be leading us off, and a great start for him. We have Edward Scher on the outside, but look at James Hudson driving it on the inside, and he's going to take over P2, Jordan.
Yeah, the outside line restarted with about 2 car lengths in between each other, so not a very good restart for that outside line. The inside, everyone making up positions that got the start down there. The 5 struggling to maintain his track position. He's going to fight back against the 85 of Brad Herman, and I was sitting there thinking that with that track position, he was going to have the opportunity to pace himself with the 7 instead of having to burn his stuff down, trying to run him down, but instead, the 5 starting to lose positions, and he's going to have to race hard to maintain them.
Absolutely. These guys are running very, very tight, and I'll tell you what, man, that was a close call going side by side. He got a little loose coming off the corner, went up a little bit, but managed to hold on to it. But that 85, very, very close. That is Brad Herman. Let's take a look at him as he is directly next to Matthew O'Brien, right behind Edward Scher in that 5 car. These top 5 guys, they're off and running, Jordan.
Yeah, the 85 did a great job of giving the 5 room earlier. The 85 looking a little bit loose on corner entry, getting down to the white line, I think, a little bit earlier, sooner, and harder than he would like to. That's kind of hurt his speed just a little bit through the center of each corner. The 17 of Matthew O'Brien has been able to take over that fourth spot. Behind him, the 6 of Andrew Wisdom is starting to lurk back there. We've seen him up front in a lot of these races, and he's looking again like he could maybe be a factor, but he's got a lot of work to do to work his way toward the front as Brendan Book once again looks toward pulling away.
We'll see if he can make it happen, but look who is behind Andrew Wisdom. Jacob Locklear, who started in the back, gained another 14 positions out here tonight, having a great run as he's trying to make his way up to the front. These guys are looking so strong, currently sitting single file line, but doing a great job out here. We'll see if he can make it into the top 5, Jordan.
Will in a top 5 would be a great run for him, but right now, speaking of the top 5, we have a battle for that 3rd position. The 17 of Matthew O'Brien has worked his way to the outside of the 5 of Edward Scher. They are currently battling for that 3rd spot. The 17 wants a podium position. He's going to get it for now as he was going to power around the outside, clear the 5 coming off of turn 4, move Matthew O'Brien into the 3rd spot. Scher back to 4th.
He definitely squeezed it in there. That was so close, and he
he's
is
gonna use
diving
that
it
run.
underneath. Yeah, he is using that run on James Hudson in the 53. What a power move by Matthew O'Brien. Wow. He slid up the track, somehow is managing to keep the contact down. I don't even know that they made contact. Great move to hold that down, but man, it is close, and I'll tell you what, guys, it is super slick down at the bottom of the track tonight.
Yeah, he had to let out of the throttle big time and then ran a very defensive line against the 5. The 5 opted not to run a much lower line, was very, very lenient toward the 17 car. Now they're able to get back in line, but Matthew O'Brien had nowhere else to go with that run but to lick the stamp and sent it. Almost was an awesome pass, almost was a huge wreck. We got neither, but it was still really fun to watch as the 5 is under attack from the 85 of Brad Herman.
The 5 is definitely under attack, but our leader is starting to get away once again. Almost a half a second in front of second place of Hudson in that 53 as he is driving that high side, and he gets an amazing momentum coming off that turn. But look at the crowd from second on. These guys are super close, and they can make their way up to him. But that dirty air is going to really affect these guys and how their car handles. It's going to really get that nose pretty loose out there.
Yeah, the nose is going to slide all over the place. The cars are going to be really difficult to turn. It's honestly not as bad as some other cars on iRacing, but still, these NASCAR Cup stock cars really tough to deal with in a pack, especially the further back you get. There's just less and less front grip. The car wants to slide up on you. You have to work the front tires even more. It just makes it more difficult. It's just so much easier to be the leader in these races because you don't have to work as hard. You have to work so much harder to make passes, to make lap time, to even just drive your car the further back in the pack you get, as these drivers are currently battling hard for that third position. Sure, fighting back on the outside of Herman, trying to hold on to the fourth spot.
Yeah, we have Austin Reedy. I'm taking a look. He's going on the inside of Andrew Wisdom and Brad Herman. Very bunched up out here. A lot of racing going on, a lot of competition. But these guys looking great. We have Alpha York out in chat. What's up? How are you? Scorpio King, Dion, Yensa. Hi to you guys. Hope you're enjoying the race. It is very close though, from third to about seventh. These guys are very tight, and I'm gonna say it, Jordan, you can cover them with a blanket.
You can cover them with a blanket for sure, especially this group of four battling for that third spot. Matthew O'Brien has it, and a hungry pack of wolves won it behind him, and he still hasn't lost touch of that 53 of James Hudson. He's close enough for him to be both within sight and to be affecting the handling of that car. The 53 using a higher line because he's closed down the gap just a little bit on our leader Brendan Book, but still the closest battle out there on the track is within our top 10, I should say, is that battle for third between Matthew O'Brien and Edward Scherer, who fell back just a little bit at the start of this run, starting to navigate his way back forward as he wants that third spot.
Yeah, let's take a look at Brad Herman in the 85 and Edward Scherer. These guys are so close out there. You saw Edward Scherer trying to take a peek, see if he can make a move on Matthew O'Brien. But so far, he's just going to hang behind him. But look at the guys behind him. So super close. And the pressure is really on for these guys. They have to make sure they drive it consistently. That's a huge thing here. And a lot of guys are driving it on the high side. You got some driving on the low side. It's really cool to see the different lines working. But we have a couple of packs out here tonight, and those packs are spread out, but within those, a lot of competition going on.
Oh boy, that the battle for the sixth spot, or fifth spot, seventh spot, I should say. I'll get it right eventually. The fifth spot between Andrew Wisdom and Brad Herman. Herman got loose a lap ago. That allowed the sixth to be able to get underneath him. He had to work a whole lap and finally eventually just cleared himself through 1 and 2, was able to take over that fifth spot. So Andrew Wisdom has worked his way into the top 5 after starting 13th on the grid. Meanwhile, behind him, or behind both of them, is the 11 of Austin Reedy, who we've seen toward the front for a lot of this race. Had to go back just a little bit after repairing some damage after getting into the wall while trying to race for the lead. He's working his way back up through the field. He sees an opportunity to get back into the top 5 and get back into a spot to pounce on our leaders. Should we get another yellow? Should we get some craziness to happen? But he's going to be running just a little bit higher there behind the 6 and the 65, or the 85.
Absolutely. And Austin Reedy, he's already got a win this season. He won at Auto Club, the second race of the season, so he is another strong car. We see him out front quite a bit. Brad Herman, he won at Homestead, and Brad Herman, he also won at Phoenix last week, so he's got 2 wins out here. But Andrew Wisdom, he has got a win, and it has Las Vegas, so we're going to see him make his way up here. He's in the top 5. He's right there. Brendan Book, though, he's still out in the lead, and it's by 0.34. So he's got quite a little lead here. Not as big as the first run, but there's still time for that as we are at 59 of 115.
Yeah, and Hudson actually cut it down about a half a tenth there that previous run. So Hudson making up a little bit of ground, running that higher line than the 7 car is. He's just trying to run where Book is not. The 53 continuing to make up just a tiny bit of ground. We'll see the gap here at the line. It's about, well, he lost that half a tenth that he gained the last time around. So yo-yoing back and forth within that 3/10 to 4/10 to 5/10 range is the battle for our lead.
I want to take a look at 10th, which is Enrique in the 45. He's got some company behind him too, but he is hanging out in the top 10. Right outside of the top 10 is Doc Holliday in that 88. You can see him behind him. Very, very close, but these guys just trying to do it consistently and running those laps. Richard Rico out here currently sitting P9, and right ahead of him, he's got Jacob Locklear in that 84.
The best battle on track right now is the battle for 14th between John Honeycutt and Ace Waller. Waller looking to the inside of the 50 of Honeycutt, so move the Waller up to 14th, Honeycutt back to 15th, and those are the last two cars on the lead lap. So right now 15 cars on the lead lap here with about 55 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, we have 17th is Justin Mons. He is about 10 laps down from what I'm seeing. So rough night for him out there. Not how he's wanting to run, but he's got a lot of company out there, a lot of cars around him. Hopefully he can make up some laps, and it's going to be a long night though. Our leader, we still have Brendan Book out here in the lead with James Hudson on that high side. I haven't seen the gap really do anything. It's been pretty consistent out here. These top two guys are running very close together, and then we have third, fourth, and fifth. They're running in another pack. You see Brendan Book running super low, which that's going to be the slickest part of the track with James Hudson. He has been running high pretty much all night, Jordan.
He has been, and this lead has been yo-yoing back and forth. Hudson will gain about a half a tenth, and then Brendan Book will gain about 3 to 4 hundredths, and then Hudson will gain about a half a tenth, and then Brendan Book will gain about 3 or 4 hundredths. So it's just a slow creep forward, but every time Hudson gets a little bit closer to Book, that dirty air starts to affect him a little more, hurts his lap time, and it slows that progress down. He's using everything he can to try to make up ground, running right down to the grass through the dog leg. Now they go into 1 and 2. The 7 running the middle lane, the 53, about a car width off of the wall. So as we have documented 100 times, and how one thing that we love about this racetrack is the multiple grooves you can run, and that chess match of trying to mirror drive that driver behind you to pick right which lane to run at the right time. The 53 once again able to gain that down. It's to about underneath 0.3 of a second now is the lead.
Absolutely. Justin Mons is not 10 laps down. He is down 1 lap. Correction on that. It's Cole Snyder right below
Only
him.
9 off.
Only 9 off. Cole Snyder is down 2 with NNR Chevy. He's down 10 laps. But yeah, so Justin Mons, he still has a chance to make it back up here. If we see another caution, we'll see him hopefully get back on the lead lap. We'll find out what happens here. But lap 67 of 115, these top two guys are still remaining very steady out here. Let's take a look at Jacob Locklear, who has made yet up another position. If you recall, he did start towards the back, and he is directly in front of Richard Rico, which last week at the end, we saw an incident with them and a quick wreck right before the finish line. So very interesting finish to the race last week.
Yeah, a couple of big wrecks happened, and just a lot of contact happened last week. Last week was a wild race, but tonight so far we have been clean and green. 1 caution flag so far. Other than that, a lot of action these drivers able to take off. We haven't seen a full set of green flag pit stops yet, but as this run continues onward, it's more and more likely we're going to get to see that. But here, this battle between Locklear and Rico continues to be one of the best ones inside of the top 10. Meanwhile, Austin Reedy behind him is about to lose the 9th spot to Enrique Quinones. Those two side by side for 9th.
I was just looking at that. Enrique doing a great pass on the inside. We'll see if he can keep it as Reedy has a huge run on the outside and is going to keep these guys directly side by side. Meanwhile, they have some company of Jason Keffer directly behind them. So he's starting to get in the mix out here also. Is that Jason Keffer? No, that's Jaden Gimbel in the 20.
Gimbel.
Yeah, so man, he is really mixing it up there also. But Austin Reedy a little bit out front of Enrique, but he's gonna keep working on him.
Yeah, the 48 almost had that pass completed. He packed it down on the inside just a little too hard, slid up, had to get out of the throttle, and that allowed the 11, who packed it in pretty hard on the outside, but was able to get that car to stick. He was able to power back around the 48. Now the 48 falling off just a little bit as the 20 car trying to work his way forward, make up as much track position as he can. He's currently in the lucky dog spot, but with 17.7 seconds back is the last car on the lead lap from our leader. With that being the case, it's not going to be that long until we start lapping cars. So the 20 just trying to work his way forward, put himself in the best position possible to get that lucky dog should he get a yellow. As we see the 48 get loose.
Very, very close and a fantastic save on his part. Man, that was very, very tight, but he did a great job saving it. Unfortunately, that is going to cost him some time, but he is still off and running. You see Justin Mons directly behind him in that 41, so he is still off and running, but really unfortunate to see that, but a great save.
Our two one-lap down cars still pretty close together, and I keep calling that 45 car the 48, keep getting that number wrong as Mons goes around the 45. The 41 really picking up some time, running a good pace, but just doesn't have the track position right now, and really the only chance he has is about a half a corner ahead of him in that 20 car of Jaden Gimbel, the race within the race for that lucky dog.
Let's take a look at our leader, Jordan. We have James Hudson about a second and a half behind now. Brendan Book has found his lane and he is off and running once again, increasing that gap between him and second. Matthew O'Brien in the meantime has certainly caught up, or James Hudson has fallen back. I'm not sure which, but Matthew O'Brien is definitely catching up to James Hudson in that 53. About to get interesting for P2.
Yeah, might have burned up that right front trying to run the high line like he had been behind the 7, with the 7 kind of working the lanes. The 53 really had no other option but to run a little higher. Might have been driving it just a bit too hard. He's starting to fall off the pace just a little bit. That's allowed the 17 of Matthew O'Brien to work underneath him here. He's going to make that pass easily. The 53 falls back into third, and now he is going to be under fire from the 5 of Edward Scherer.
Yeah, let's take a look at Edward Schur, another strong driver out here, and he is going to dive it down pretty far low into the corner here, and he's going to be underneath James. Oh man, that's very, very close. He slid up directly in front of him. He was able to make that work directly in front of James Hudson in that 53.
I think Hudson just let him go there. The car was looking a little unstable up in the top, and he's going to come to pit road. I think he's had it with these tires. He wants to get some fresh ones. He's going to try to play a little strategy, play a little undercut here on the leaders as that car is falling. And honestly, it has a little bit of right side damage on it, so he might have hit the wall. That might be why the car has slowed down so much.
Going to be interesting to see when he comes out, as we're on lap 76 of 115. How will that change his pit strategy moving forward if we do not see a caution and remain green? And I'll tell you what, Jordan, I'm surprised at how clean this race has happened tonight. We've had a very clean race considering track conditions are extremely slick out here. So these guys have done an amazing job so far.
Yeah, an amazing job to keep it nice and here this evening. Really, really loose race cars on a slick track with everyone on top of each other. Not a recipe for success, but they have made it work as the laps continue to tick off and green flag stops. Hopefully, probably going to begin here soon. The 53 probably way early to repair that damage.
Absolutely. I'm back on board with the 84 of Jacob Locklear. He has since moved into P6, and we have Richard Rico behind him. These guys have kind of been traveling through the field together, so you see these guys very, very close, but they're going to have to start working on Brad Herman in the 85, who is up ahead here, so we'll see what happens with these guys.
Yeah, can confirm on lap 67, the 53 of James Hudson pounded down the wall coming on the exit of turn 4. So that is what prompted him to after losing all that time, after damaging his car, to come to pit road before everybody else. But unfortunate for him, that throws him off cycle just a little bit from what I imagine he wanted to do. That's going to hurt his opportunity to win this race. But if we can get through a pit cycle here and then get a quick yellow, he'll be right back in it. But right now, no one so far has had anything for the 7 car of Brendan Book, as he continues to maintain a 1-second lead over the 17 of Matthew O'Brien.
Yeah, 1 second lead over second place. We'll see if he can continue that. He's got a lot of momentum coming out here.
Oh, Richard Rico wrecked.
Oh, let's take a look here. Aw, man, I'm really unfortunate. He is off on pit road. I'm not quite sure what happened with that, but man, oh man.
He was coming to pit road and got loose. He was coming to pit road, and he'd already made it past the yellow line, locked him up, spun it out, nosed it into that pit road wall. So Rico, with a bit of a mistake trying to make his pit stop, that's going to cost him a lot of time, a lot of repairs, or at the very least, his fast repair.
Really unfortunate to see. We're going to have him go in and fix that damage. Unplanned, obviously, but let's take a look at John Honeycutt, currently sitting 11th, about 25 seconds back from our leader of Brendan Book. I have a feeling pit stop will happen soon, as you see Richard Rico back out on track. I do believe that was. But 50 is off and running and trying to make his way up. Meanwhile, in 7th, we have the number 45 of Enrique making his way up through the field, about 14 seconds back from our leader. Doing a great job out here so far.
Yeah, we see a handful of drivers coming to pit road. I believe the 20 of Jaden Gimbel has come down to make his stop. So slowly but surely, these drivers going to start making their pit stop. But a lot of our leaders still have not been takers to pit road. Putting a lot of laps on these tires. Might be trying to make a little bit of fuel saving going on as the laps continue to tick away here in this race.
Yeah, let's take a look at second place of Matthew O'Brien. He's got Edward Schur about a little bit back from him, but these guys are still in a single file line. And they're just going to have to keep it consistent until they go in and get those fresh tires. These guys have unlimited tires, if I'm not mistaken. So if they need to go in and get that done, they have the tires to do it.
Yeah, Brendan Book has really fallen off the pace a little bit here. Matthew O'Brien has pulled it to within 3/4 of a second, 0.726 at the line that last time by. I think the 7's hurting for tires right now. I think he wants to get into pit road, get some fresh tires here very, very, very soon. But the 17 starting to make up a little bit of ground, and yep, our leader has hit pit road.
He has hit pit road, and a very clean entry for him, so great news for him. We have Matthew O'Brien as our new leader with Edward Schur about half a second behind him. Andrew Wisdom in that 6 car. He is about 2.5 seconds back, so kind of sitting by himself, but as we start to hit pit road, I think it's going to mix things up even more, Jordan.
Absolutely. Right now it looks like, yep, they're going to come to pit road right here, as I'm not getting any... Oh, hold on. I'm in race. I was looking at the lap times, but yeah, our 2 drivers came into pit road, and that's absolutely the smart thing to do, as times have fallen off. About his fastest lap of the race is a 30.5. The last lap he ran before this pit stop was a 33.097, so a ton of fall off in these tires, 2.5 seconds. You want to get to pit road as soon as you see that leader come in. They did the smart thing here. They're going to get to pit road and probably lose a little bit of ground to Brendan Book here, but going to have a lot better tires. Might not mean as much as pitting a little early, though.
Absolutely. Andrew Wisdom out here as our current leader, and the second place of Enrique is about 11 seconds behind. I guarantee these guys will be coming in shortly. Man, as you said, if I see that leader coming in, I'm falling right behind him. I do not want to stay out too much longer and give up that time. Times have fallen off way too much to stay out there too long. So you're going to see these guys come in shortly.
Oh, the 6 with a very aggressive pit entry. He went off track. He got the knockdown, the pit commitment cone. He is just an unfortunate turn of events for the driver that was leading at that point in time. That's got to be a pit penalty, and he is sliding it in. Those tires are absolutely done on that 6 car.
Absolutely. Really unfortunate to see with that. And as you said, that's really going to hurt him. We have Tyler Werner on pit road. Let's take a look at James Hudson out here, about 11 seconds behind our leader of Enrico in that 45. He is staying out very long. You see Jacob Locklear out in front of him in the 43 behind him. He is slowing down a lot. I guarantee he's coming in.
Yeah, oh, and he not have. Oh, that was close. Oh, gosh, this must be old tires. These drivers struggling as we see the 23 of Cole Snyder. He also missed that pit road entry just a little bit. The 45 with a very eventful pit road entry, but James Hudson retakes the lead. And again, that early having to pit early, he has a 7-second lead over Brendan Book, but that is going to quickly fade away as he has much older tires.
Yeah, these guys, we have Enrique on pit road, Hudson coming around here, and he is pretty well by himself. You don't see a lot of these guys anywhere around, so we'll see what happens. But Brendan Book, he's going to be coming out here, and he's going to be taking over second place, about 6 seconds behind. So he's going to have a lot of work to do to catch up to Hudson.
He has a lot of work to do, but he has 9 laps fresher tires, and that last time around he ran a 31.09 to to a 32.003. So he's already a second faster than James Hudson. That gap is going to shrink very, very quickly, as Hudson is just praying for a yellow at this point due to being off cycle from that, having to repair that damage.
25 to go. So these guys, if they're going to make something happen, we have 25 laps to do it. So this is the time to do it. Brendan Book has been running phenomenal lap times this entire night. He's going to make his way up. He's already closed the gap by almost 2 seconds out here. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, Matthew O'Brien, just to see how much tires are worth. Matthew O'Brien was about 7/10 behind Brendan Book when Book came to pit road. O'Brien went 1 lap longer, and he is currently almost 5 seconds back of Book. Sorry. So just that tires are worth a ton here tonight. Again, 2.5 seconds basically was the fall off from fresh tires to old tires. And we're seeing that right now as the 53, who had to pit a little bit earlier, is losing ground to our second place driver of Brendan Book.
He's losing ground to our second place, and he's directly behind John Honeycutt, who is currently sitting P11 out there. So we'll see if he's going to follow behind him or try to make his way around him. Either way, it's going to be close, as these guys are pretty well separated. And we have Brendan Book almost coming up to 3.5 seconds on James Hudson, who is our current leader.
Yeah, Tyler Werner was just able to unlap himself. That'll put 10 cars back on the lead lap. The 53 continues to lose ground. That lead has shrunk to 2.1 seconds at the line. So our top 10 currently on the lead lap. If you're on the lead lap, you're gonna get yourself on the stat board. But right now, just a torrid pace from that 7 car of Book as he is closing in still on the 53.
Still closing in, only a second and less than a second and a half. So he is quickly closing that gap. James Hudson is gonna have to change how he's driving it. He's just got the tires that he's working on. There's not much he can do. He's gonna have to try to defend that as long as he can and try to save himself some time. That might catch a few other guys up to them, as you see him there in the background, and with John Honeycutt leading that pack. But man, oh man, it's gonna be close.
Yeah, really all Hudson can do is just run his pace and maybe try to conserve enough tire and fuel to extend this run beyond what he would probably want to do so that there's a less of a gap for that next pit cycle. But either way, that he's not going to hold on to the lead here, as well. There's probably not going to be a next pit cycle, as there are only 20 laps to go in this race. So what I said, throw that out the window. The 7 of Book currently about to make that pass. The 53 probably just trying to conserve so he can make it to the end of the race, much less another pit stop.
Absolutely. You know, here he goes. He's going to be trying to make that move as he is right on the bumper of the 53 of James Hudson. He is directly on him, and Brendan Book is going to bring it low. Meanwhile, we have Hudson on the high side. Here we go for the pass for the lead. Brendan Book led so many laps here tonight as he gets loose coming off the corner. So tight out here. We've seen that time and time again out here, but he is holding that high side really well. Meanwhile, Brendan Book, he's trying to make it happen on the inside, and it's just going to be a matter of time as he makes the pass. I want to say now, but man, James Hudson just putting up a fight.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to slide up in front of him, opted not to, and I'm not sure if he made that move on purpose or if he got loose as well as the 53, but they both had a little synchronized, almost spinning. Now the 7 able to clear the 53 off of turn 2, so Brendan Book retains the lead, or takes back the lead, I should say, from James Hudson, who's going to move back into P2, and now he's just going to worry about trying to hold on to everything he can while making it to this race on significantly older tires. Meanwhile, the battle for third place heating up just a little bit. Those two separated by just 0.3.
Yeah, these guys are going to try to make their way up to James Hudson. We'll see if they can make it happen. 17 to go. If they keep working with each other, they're going to find their way up there pretty quickly. Matthew O'Brien having a fantastic night tonight, along with Edward Schur in that 5 car. These go. What was that? I saw a little blink out there. That was weird. He is back, so it's okay. But, man, that was a little scary. I was afraid he got kicked out of the race. Brendan Book having an extremely strong race here tonight. As you see, Honeycutt in that 50 getting loose behind him along with a couple other guys. The 5 of Edward Schur. These guys are just... You can tell just under completely loose conditions out here, but they're doing a fantastic job of saving the car. We've had a lot of close calls out here, J-Mac.
Yeah, and with 15 laps to go, they're pushing for everything they're worth, trying to get every spot that they can. The 17 and the 5 trying to run down our leader, but they've made the gap smaller. They've been able to work lap traffic just a little bit better, but the 7 of Brendan Book lost a little bit of time having to race the 53 of James Hudson. That's a driver that the 17 and the 5 both still have to go through. And at this point in the run, the tires have equalized just a little bit to make that a tiny bit tougher. They still have a massive advantage over that 53 as they continue to run him down, make that gap smaller. The 17 trying to take that second spot, and honestly, I'm sure Schur is probably hoping that's a little bit harder of a pass than he would like it to be, so he could take over that second spot.
We'll see what happens with them. But let's take a look at P8. We have the 43 out here of Ace Waller. He's got Richard Rico behind him in P9 with Tyler Werner behind him. These guys are pretty close where they can make something happen and try to take over the P8 spot. But we have Waller out there. He is looking pretty confident, and we'll see if he can make any more moves out there.
17 right on the bumper of the 2 now. Or the 53, I should say. Sorry, 4 seconds for the 2 position.
He's trying to take a peek underneath Matthew O'Brien out there. Trying to take a peek underneath the 53 of James Hudson. Testing the waters, and he is going to try to make a move. We'll see if he can make it happen. Dives it down low. James Hudson just loving the outside in this race here tonight. We'll see if he can hold him off, but man, oh man. Matthew O'Brien in that 17, he wants that spot, and he is coming for it. James Hudson, he's just going to have to try to keep his line and try to hold out as many positions as he can as we have 12 to go.
At 12 to go, the 53 doing a fine job fighting back with those older tires on that outside lane. The 17 driving really conservatively, trying to make this pass on the 53. O'Brien looks to the inside. They are completely even going through the middle of 1 and 2. Now the 17 gets a little bit of an advantage. Is he going to pull up in front of the 53? Opts not to. Might have had the opportunity to. Chose against it, probably wisely. He's going to fall back. The 53 almost has him clear. Now the 5 of Edward Scherer. This is what he wanted from this battle, is for these two to get side by side and give him an opportunity to take that spot from both of them. The 53 is going to clear the 17 down the front straight. So the 53 currently doing an excellent job. They are 3 wide.
3 wide for second place. These guys are just battling it out. And what a fantastic job as, man, the 5 car is just squeezed in the middle. A complete sandwich right there. And the 17 holds off a little bit, and he's just saying, I am not going to go 3 wide right now. You guys have at it. I'll catch back up to you. But the 5, Edward Scherer, he is all over the 53 underneath him, trying to make that move. But man, oh man, Jordan, that battle for second place, absolutely incredible.
It's incredible, and it's exactly what Brendan Book wants to see, is these drivers battling it out. O'Brien was the fastest driver of that top 4. These last few laps, he has completely lost everything that he had been gaining. Now he's able to clear the 53 of James Hudson. Probably wishes it would have been that easy a few laps ago. The 5 with a very aggressive 3 wide move. The 17 stuck on the bottom, was cranked hard left, almost lost it, able to hold on to it, but now he is trying to run down Edward Scherer for that second spot, as there are only 8 laps to go.
We'll see if he can do it with 8 laps to go, though. They're going to have to run that consistently as the 5 gets a little loose coming off the corner. We've seen that quite a bit with him tonight. Coming off the corners, getting super loose, but man, I don't think he's never not saved it so far. So great job for him out there. Still setting P2. Meanwhile, Brendan Book, these guys are a little over 2.5 seconds back of our current leader, Brendan Book. I don't think anyone's going to be able to catch him in 7 laps.
Yeah, they're going to need a yellow at this point, even if they're a little bit faster, a couple of tenths. There's just not enough time for them to run him down, as Brendan Book with clean sailing in front of him. Let's see, is there anything up in front of him? No, there's an absolutely clean racetrack in front of him. So plenty of space, plenty of clean air, just what you want if you're leading a race, trying to maintain a lead. Edward Scherer able to tick off a 10th there, but with only 6 laps remaining, that is just not enough time.
Not enough time, and look at the 22 making his way up underneath him. He's just going to let him go on by. Fresher tires, so he's just going to let him go. The 5 car stays up high, and he's still on the move, but Brendan Book, 6 to go, and they are almost 3 seconds back. This is his race right now, and as I said earlier, I don't think they're going to catch him.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do. They have to work through 2 lap cars. They have to battle each other. They need a yellow at this point to be able to do anything with that 7 car, as the laps continue to tick around. There will be 4 to go when the 7 car hits the line this time around. Just not enough time to do anything.
I want to take a look at Jacob Locklear, currently sitting P7, kind of on his own little island right now. He's got the 11 of Reedy up ahead, about 3 seconds, but not too much going on back here, just keeping it consistent and trying to make up some time. You got Brad Herman sitting P5 and that number 85. And up ahead, go ahead.
We have a great battle for the 9th spot right now between Tyler Werner and Richard Rico. That's the closest battle within the top 10 at this moment. Those two have been on top of each other. The 33 had unlapped himself a little bit ago and has been steadily gaining ground on that 18 car. They have 3 to go, I believe, as the 33 gets super loose behind him. The 18 continuing to maintain that 9th spot.
Let's take a look at a favorite out here, the number 45 of Enrique. He's done a great job tonight. This track is so hard. He's 15th at the moment. But doing a great job as we are coming down to the wire, guys. Brendan Book out here with 3 to go. Still running so consistent. I mean, he has just had amazing speed out here tonight. Edward Schur had a fantastic move going 3 wide to take over P2. Matthew O'Brien directly behind him. James Hudson has fallen back just a little bit more as he's on those older tires. It just shows you how important that is out here, especially in the dirty air.
Yeah, but he's done a fantastic job to maintain what he can as these drivers are about to take the white flag. He's done an excellent job this run, just pacing himself, able to hold on to that 4th spot. It's going to be a much better finish than it looked when he brought that crumpled right side to pit road earlier.
We are on our final lap. Let's see, you can see Brendan Book out here, and the guys behind him in second. We have Edward Schur, Matt O'Brien in that 17. We're coming around the final part here. Let's bring Brendan Book home in that number 7. Bring him home as the winner. And I don't want to say anything to jinx him because you never know. But here we go. He's coming around the corner. And he's going to be our winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. A huge congratulations to Brendan Book.
The 50 car behind him absolutely pounded the wall down. The 5 is going to beat the 17 to the line. So Edward Schur will finish 2nd. Matthew O'Brien 3rd. With James Hudson coming across in 4th.
All right, let's go ahead and get our top 3 out here in the booth. Very strong run for these guys. Such a fantastic job. I hope you guys really enjoyed the race. We'll get the 5 car of Edward Schur in here. And we'll also get Matthew O'Brien. I mean, we saw him making some huge moves. I just got to find him out here. There we go. You see Brendan Book out there at the start-finish line doing a burnout. Brendan Book, congratulations. This is your first race out here at PSES for Season 2. How'd your race go?
I mean, I think it was pretty good. Car was fast all race, short run, long run, middle run. I mean, just glad for the chance to run this race tonight. The track was tough, loose and tight at the same time. Just want to say thanks to Chevy, Butt Kicker for being on the car. Hopefully there's more to come.
Absolutely. We saw you get a little loose, and we had a couple of guys catching back up to you. What was your strategy going into tonight, and what was your thought process on how to keep them behind you?
Yeah, coming into the race, I mean, obviously I wanted to qualify well and start in 2nd. Did just that, and then after that, I don't want to drive too hard there, but they kind of forced my hand, and because I wanted to keep that track position in clean air, which with this new package iRacing has, it definitely makes a difference. And I think that really showed when someone got within like half a second of another car that was like the same pace, they really couldn't go anywhere, and that was my main goal. And then, yeah, a couple times there, I almost got in the wall. I mean, off turn 4 a couple times, off turn 2. The first time I tried to run the high side, I walled it a little bit. That was a moment where I, got my attention real quick. So I was able to gather back up, thankfully, and keep on going.
Well, you did it your first time out here for Season 2, and you brought home the win. A huge congratulations to you, Brendan.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's go ahead and get our 2nd place of Edward Schur.
Here with Edward Schur. Started 4th, finished 2nd, a strong run all race long. Talk about your race tonight and also that fantastic move you had to make to take over that P2 spot.
Yeah, it was a pretty decent night all around. We were coming in here knowing we were going to have to struggle with the tire management here. Atlanta is always a really tough track on tires, and it's tough to pass here a little bit. Plus, with the new physics, with the dirty air being a factor here, is a little tough to pass a little bit. But we maneuvered a little bit in practice, trying different lines. We tried the bottom, we tried the middle, we tried the top, and we found out that the bottom was better for saving tires. But if we wanted to pass a little bit, try the top, the middle. But yeah, it's just a various strategies played out. I was going to pit a little bit earlier than I did at the end to see if that would work, but I ended up trying to stay out a little bit longer to see if I couldn't make up a little bit more time. But that wasn't the case, and yeah, the move was just pure desperation. It's been a pretty good season for us so far. I mean, I feel like Chase Elliott in his first 2 years getting second's kind of getting a little bit annoying a little bit, but I mean, we're getting close to the wins, so I mean, can't complain about that. I mean, we're doing good points wise, so we're gonna just see what we can do next week at Bristol and see what we can bring out.
Well, another strong run for Edward Scher coming home P2 tonight.
Absolutely. And for our P3, we have Matthew O'Brien. Another strong race tonight. It was so fun watching you go through the field and making your way up there. You had a ton of battles. How'd the car feel out there?
It was honestly pretty tight in the entry, but loose. It was pretty loose off the turns. Yeah. I don't. Clean air is just so important, man. It's really hard. You get you just hit a wall, and there was before the last set of green flag pit stops, we were catching the 7 a lot, and just we pitted 1 lap earlier, and that was pretty much it. I knew from that point it would be really hard to catch them, and just got hung up on the 53, and I just couldn't get the job done to get by him for second place, and lost a spot because of it. But it was still a really good run.
Absolutely. You guys made a fantastic run out there. So fun. And the 3 wide, you guys are crazy out there, but you made it work, and it was really fun to watch. Do you have any sponsors that you want to thank tonight?
I guess auto owners, because I just do it on the car tonight. But yeah, and, that's probably it. I'm just happy to get a first top 3 of the season. So.
Absolutely. Great job, guys. A really fun race. And I want to give a shout out to Kit Kat out in chat. Thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Next week, we are headed to Bristol. It's going to be a wild ride, so make sure you tune in. It's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I hope you guys have a great week until then. But huge congratulations to Brendan Book and you guys on the top 3. You did amazing. And Jordan, it's always fun with you.
Absolutely, a fun race, a very green race. Fun watching the lines. Drivers having to deal with the dirty air. The how much the tires meant was basically the difference in the race. Just a wild race, and a lot of fun to call with you.
All right, let's bring it home to Bristol next week. We will see you guys there. Take it easy, guys.